Have you ever noticed that your cat acts completely normal, but somehow still makes you question everything you think you know about them? They sit near you, but not quite facing you. They follow you, but pretend it's accidental. They block your path like they're enforcing some invisible rule you never agreed to. And the strange part is, they don't do this with everyone. Not the guests, not the neighbors, not even other pets in some cases. Just you. Which raises a very simple question most cat owners quietly wonder at some point. Is my cat actually attached to me? Or am I just the convenient human in the house? Because cats don't really announce relationships the way we expect. There's no obvious signal, no clear moment where they say, "You matter to me." Instead, they do things that look random, confusing, or even slightly rude. But once you understand the pattern behind them, it starts to look very different. Let's break down the things cats only do with their favorite person, and what they might actually mean. 1. The back turn, trust that looks like distance. Let's start with one of the most misunderstood behaviors. Your cat climbs up next to you, settles down, and then turns away. No eye contact, no engagement. Just their back facing you, like you've suddenly been demoted to background scenery. Most people assume this means disinterest. But think about this for a second. In the animal world, the back is not a neutral position. It's the most vulnerable side of the body. No warning, no visibility, no defense. So when a cat chooses to sit with their back to you, but still stay close, they're making a very specific decision. They are not monitoring you anymore, because they don't need to. You are categorized as safe enough not to watch. And here's the subtle part most people miss. This isn't avoidance, it's the opposite. It's relaxation in your presence. They are comfortable enough to stop paying attention to you. And that only happens when your presence is predictable in the best possible way. Which leads directly into something even more obvious, but often misread. 2. The body block, interrupting your world on purpose. You try to walk somewhere, kitchen, bathroom, anywhere, and suddenly, your cat is there, right in the exact path you need. You step over them, they shift slightly, and somehow still manage to remain in your way. It feels intentional. And in a way, it is, but not in a frustrating sense. This behavior is about interruption, not obstruction. Because what happens every time they block your path? You acknowledge them. Even for a second, a glance, a word, a reaction. And that's the reward loop. But here's what makes it interesting. They don't do this with everyone. Strangers can walk freely. Guests pass without issue. Even other pets don't trigger this pattern, but you do, consistently, which suggests something subtle but important. You are the person they expect interaction from. And that expectation is part of the bond itself. But not all attention-seeking is active. Some of it is much quieter. 3. The following shadow, silent presence without demand. Some cats don't interrupt your life. They just follow it. You move rooms, they appear later. You sit somewhere else, they settle nearby. You go quiet, they quietly reappear. But here's the key detail. They're not always asking for anything. Not food, not play, not constant interaction, just proximity. This is often misunderstood as clinginess, but it's more accurate to think of it as environmental anchoring. You are the stable reference point in their world. And when you move, their comfort map moves with you. Think about that for a second. They don't follow everything, just you. And often, they don't even announce it. It's subtle, delayed, almost like they're checking in on where normal is happening. But when that presence becomes consistent, something changes. They stop needing confirmation, and instead, just stay close. Which brings us to something that looks more dramatic, but carries a similar message. 4. Scratch theater, making sure you're watching. This one feels personal when it happens. Your cat walks up to furniture, locks eyes with you, and begins scratching with slow, deliberate intensity. It almost feels like performance. But scratching serves multiple biological functions: claw maintenance, stretching, and scent marking. The important part is not the action itself, but the audience. You. Because they don't just scratch, They scratch in your presence. That changes the meaning entirely. It becomes communication, not destruction. They are marking territory in a shared space, and your presence becomes part of that map. Even the eye contact matters here. It's not random, it's confirmation. They're checking, are you seeing this? Not for approval, but acknowledgement. And that distinction matters, because it shows this isn't just instinct, it's directed behavior, which leads into something even more surprising. 5. The offering, strange gifts, clear intent. This is the one that catches people off guard the most. A dead insect, a sock, something unidentifiable but clearly delivered, placed carefully at your feet. And then, they wait. Most people react immediately. Shock, confusion, quick removal. But from a cat's perspective, this is not random behavior. It's social exchange. In feline behavior, sharing resources is a sign of trust and belonging, especially in family or bonded relationships. So when your cat brings you something, it's not about what it is, it's about what it represents. You are being included in their inner circle of care. Now yes, on a human level, you might not emotionally accept the gift. That's fair. But on a behavioral level, the intent is clear. You are part of my group. And that idea becomes even more obvious in quieter moments. 6. The slow approach, choosing you without prompting. This one is subtle enough to miss. You're sitting quietly, not interacting, not calling them. And your cat, who was previously across the room, slowly gets up and comes closer. No food trigger, no noise, no obvious reason, just movement toward you. This is one of the clearest signals of comfort-based proximity, because cats don't approach without reason in a stable environment unless something about that moment feels meaningful. And often, that meaning is simply your presence. Not action, not reward, just you existing in a way that feels familiar and safe. They don't announce it, they don't dramatize it, they just decide to be closer. Which brings us to something people often overlook entirely. 7. The consistency signal. Only you get this version of them. This is the part that ties everything together. Because when you look at all these behaviors collectively, they don't happen randomly across people. They cluster. The back turn, the blocking, the following, the scratching, the offerings, the quiet approach. They all appear more frequently and more consistently toward one specific individual. Not because that person is chosen in a dramatic sense, but because that person has become the most predictable emotional anchor in the cat's environment. And cats care deeply about predictability, not emotional intensity, not big gestures, just consistency. So when you are the one who provides that stability, you become the reference point for everything else. And that's really what this whole pattern is pointing toward. Not ownership, not dominance, not even affection in a human sense, just familiarity, expressed through behavior. So if we go back to the beginning, that moment where your cat turns away from you, follows you, blocks your path, or drops something at your feet, it doesn't really look like affection at first glance. But when you put it all together, something interesting appears. A pattern. Not loud, not dramatic, not obvious, just consistent choices directed toward one person in their environment. And maybe that's the part most people miss. Cats don't express relationships the way we expect them to. There are no speeches, no big emotional reveals, no clear labels, just behavior, repeated in small, quiet ways. And if your cat does even a few of these things, it doesn't mean they're obsessed or dependent or anything extreme. It just means you are part of their stable world. A place they return to, a presence they don't need to question. Anyway, I should probably go check why my cat is staring at me like I just interrupted an extremely important meeting I wasn't invited to. I'll talk to you next time. FurEver.